Nobody talks about this, but being on dating apps as a man is literally like getting jumped. The odds are not in your favor.
There are 9 times as many men as women on Tinder.
Well, I would figure that.
9 times as many men.
I don't care how single I feel. I don't care how lonely I'll ever get. I am not downloading a dating app, bruh.
Every night, millions of men open apps like they're opening door to possibilities. They adjust a photo, rewrite a line, press save, and hope that maybe this time someone will see them. But what comes next isn't rejection, it's silence. Silence so deep that it starts to sound personal. He checks again. No matches. Checks again. Still nothing. And slowly, that silence becomes to translate as failure. Maybe I'm not tall enough. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm invisible. But he isn't alone. The data shows that on most dating apps, the top 10% of men receive nearly 60% of all likes, while the rest share what's left.
Listen, I get it, right? I get it. You want to meet somebody. Everybody does. If we're being honest, everybody does. I had somebody ask me this the other day. Where I'm at right now. How do I feel about being single right now? Honestly, there are days when I love being single and there are days when I hate it. If we're being truthful.
On Tinder, women swipe right on only 4% of male profiles. Men swipe right on nearly half. The math is brutal and it's deliberate because the longer he feels unseen, the more the app wins. The more likely he'll tap boost, upgrade, or try premium. And that's where the trap begins. He's chasing visibility. When attention becomes the pride, authenticity becomes the casualty. The system sells hope disguised as opportunity. And every time he buys it, he feeds the silence that made him pay in the first place. Because that's the secret no one tells you. The app doesn't want you to find love. It wants you to keep looking for it. Once in a while, you'll hear people say, "Oh, it worked for me." And for some, it really does. They meet, they match, they marry. They post their wedding photos online and say, "See, it's possible." But what they never tell you is how rare that is. Studies show that less than 10% of dating app matches lead to real-life conversations, and only 1 in 500 ever become relationships that last more than 3 months. So, for most men, that success story feels like fiction, like a movie playing on a screen that they'll never be invited into, because not everyone is playing the same game. For women, these apps can feel like walking into a room where every head turns. For men, it's walking into that same room and realizing no one even noticed you arrived. The attention gap is massive. Women get flooded with options, men get silence. And it's not because men aren't trying. It's because the system rewards scarcity. The algorithm thrives on imbalance. The few who gets too much attention and the many who gets none at all. That imbalance keeps both sides frustrated, emotional, and engaged. Because every time a man feels unseen, he swipes more. Every time a woman feels overwhelmed, she filters harder. Both believe that the problem is each other, when the real problem is the screen between them. Dating apps didn't destroy connections. They monetized the absence of it. What looks like modern romance is actually emotional traffic. People moving endlessly but never arriving anywhere. And by the time you realize it's a loop, you're already part of the design.
No, I use dating apps to get girls. Like, no, you don't. You use dating apps to get women who either have a mental disorder or 3 kids, or they're trying to rob you or trying to get you to go down their OnlyFans funnel. Those are the only women you're meeting on dating apps. Attractive young women don't need dating apps to meet men. 80% of women throughout history have reproduced. Women do not need to take chances to reproduce. Men will find them. They just simply exist and men will come to them. They don't need dating apps. If you're going on dating apps to try to meet women, you're meeting the worst possible type of women.
Behind every swipe, there's a strategy. Dating apps don't survive on love stories. They survive on loneliness. Every unreturned message, every ghosted match, every quiet disappointment fuels their profit model. Because when connection fails, consumption begins. The longer you feel invisible, the more likely you are to pay to be seen. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, they all work the same way. A 15-minute boost costs $6.99 to $19.99. A monthly subscription for Gold or Plus, around $30 to $40. Premium or Platinum visibility, $50 a month or more. Super likes, super boost, priority matches. Tiny flashes of attention sold back to the same man the system made invisible in the first place. Globally, these apps earn over $5.5 billion in 2024. And most of that came from men just trying to be noticed. Think about that. Billions of dollars made not from love, but from the absence of it. They've mastered the casino model. One small win, one match. One notification that says, someone liked you. It's not fulfillment. It's reinforcement. You swipe again, hoping for another hit of dopamine. You pay again, hoping for a different outcome. And it feels like you're making progress, but you're really just paying rent for attention. They turn loneliness into a subscription and hope into a recurring charge. It's not connection, it's containment. A system that feeds off of emotion and sells it back to you as possibility. Every tab, every renewal, every swipe, it's transaction disguised as affection. The truth is simple. The app doesn't want you to find someone. It wants you to stay looking because your search is the product. It's easy to think men are the only ones losing here, but that's not true because on the other side of that same glowing screen is a woman who's tired too. She opens up her app and finds hundreds of messages waiting, not from connection, but from noise. Compliments that feel copied and pasted. Messages that sound more like marketing than meaning. Hey, you're gorgeous. You still single? Over and over again. The same words, different faces, same emptiness. It feels like attention, but it doesn't feel like affection. It feels like being seen, but not known. So she starts filtering harder, shorter bios, fewer replies, higher standards. And slowly, real connection gets buried under caution and fatigue. While men are invisible in silence, women are overwhelmed by the noise. Two sides of the same coin, both disconnected, both disappointed. She's drowning in validation, but starving for sincerity. He's starving for validation, but overflowing with sincerity that no one ever gets to see. That's the quiet tragedy of modern dating. Both feel unseen, just in different ways. He feels invisible in her silence. She feels unseen in his noise. She's tired of being judged by looks. He's tired of being judged by value. She wants peace. He wants purpose. And the system keeps both chasing each other's shadows. Because when connection becomes a competition, nobody wins except the platform. Dating used to be discovery. Now it's marketing. Texting replaced talking. Matching replaced meeting. And love became something that you scroll through instead of something you build. By the time both sides realize they're lonely, they've already been trained to stay that way.
Dating is today, a lot of it is because of dating apps. A lot of it is because that people are getting instant gratification. People are trying to spark up a chemistry by looking at somebody's pictures or filtering through pictures online. They're making judgments and assumptions based off, oh, this guy looks weird, or this girl, she looks funny in her picture, so, she's probably a weirdo.
There's a moment every man reaches. It's not anger. It's not heartbreak. It's exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that sits behind your eyes. When effort stops feeling like growth and starts feeling like a performance. You can only send so many messages into silence before you start questioning yourself. You can only show up so many times and be ignored before you stop showing up altogether. It's not that he stopped caring. It's that he stopped begging for permission to matter. The modern world tells men, oh, just keep improving. Just keep trying. But What they don't tell you is improvement doesn't fix a rigged game. Studies show that men under 30 today are more single than at any point in recorded history, and nearly 1 in 3 report zero romantic interactions in the past year. That's not a lack of effort. That's a reflection of a culture that treats male hope as an unlimited resource. Men didn't stop dating because they gave up. They stopped because they got tired of performing for people who stopped paying attention. The truth is, he's not defeated. He's just done negotiating for peace in places that profit from his confusion. So he withdraws his attention. He takes back his energy. He stops trying to be chosen and starts choosing himself. He works out, not to impress anyone, but to feel strong again. He studies, not to seem smarter, but to expand his mind. He invests in himself and his craft and his stillness. And something powerful happens. The same silence that used to hurt becomes the space where he rebuilds. His energy sharpens. His focus, it returns. The noise fades. The pressure breaks. And what rises from that silence isn't emptiness. It's identity. Because once a man stopped chasing attention, he starts remembering who he was before the world convinced him he wasn't enough.
Listen, the average woman matches with 10% of the right swipes she has. The average woman, meaning out of 1,000 right swipes, she matches with 100 guys. Men, it's 6 out of 1,000.
When a man finally deletes the app, it's not a surrender. It's a decision. He's not escaping women. He's escaping noise, the constant swiping, the quiet rejection, the empty promises wrapped in notifications. And in that moment, he finds something he didn't realize he'd lost: clarity. Without the algorithm whispering what he's worth, he starts remembering what he actually is. He starts eating better, sleeping deeper. His mornings feel lighter because his nights aren't filled with endless scrolling. The silence that used to feel like punishment now feels like peace. He begins noticing the world again, the sound of traffic, laughter, and his own heartbeat when he's fully present. And with every day that passes, he feels stronger. Not because someone matched with him, but because he finally matched with himself. The moment he stopped chasing what ignored him, he started attracting what respected him. Confidence returns, but it's different this time. It's quiet, it's controlled, it's rooted. He walks differently, not faster, but firmer. He talks slower, but with more conviction. Because peace doesn't make you loud, it makes you certain. That's the irony no one sees.
Your experience on dating apps will tell you everything you need to know about you superficially. If you ever do download one of these apps for research purposes, this is a great way to get an average of what people think when they first see you. Like, what are people's initial thoughts when they see your appearance? Would I recommend it? Not completely. No, I would not. Just because dating apps as a whole for men, it usually goes to
When a man stops trying to prove his worth, the world begins to notice it. He's no longer a profile. He's a presence. And that presence speaks louder than any super like ever could. What dating app called disconnection, he calls freedom. And in that freedom, he finally becomes what the algorithm could never sell him: calm, confident, complete. Love was never lost. It's still out there, just harder to see through the noise. Dating apps didn't kill connection. They distracted us from it. They taught people to chase validation instead of building value, to measure attention instead of depth. But the real world hasn't changed. The smiles are still there, the conversations, the small unfiltered moments that no algorithm can manufacture. The truth is, the game was never about finding love. It was about remembering who you are without it. If you deleted the app, you didn't lose the game. You left the casino. Go live again. Talk to strangers. Build something that outlasts attention. Because confidence doesn't come from being chosen. It comes from showing up. The world still responds to men who move with purpose. Men who don't chase noise, because they found peace in silence. Once you stop renting hope, you start owning peace. Real connection doesn't need an app. It needs presence. Real attraction doesn't come from swipes. It comes from substance. So, step outside. Touch real air. Be seen in a world that still values eye contact more than algorithm. Because love isn't something you scroll to find. It's something you grow into once you remember your worth. It's been your girl, Remy Renee here. I'll see you guys in my next video.